So if you look on your color wheel, you will see these little gray blocks here. And then some more gray blocks over here, right? This is your value scale. And to be honest with you, I'm self-taught, so I learned it wrong. I learned it backwards.
Okay.
So to my mind, pure white is 0. But on the value scale, pure white is 10. I don't know why they would do that. That makes no sense to me. So they start on the darkest dark. Complete black is 1. And then you have 10 steps down to get to white. So here's the question I'm going to pose to you, and several of the students in this class who have heard my classes before. What is more important, value or color? 100% value. 100% value. You want me to prove it to you? Let me show you something. You might like this, if I could find it. I did some studies not too long ago, and I was working on different concepts for color schemes and stuff like that. So I did a series of paintings of the same painting, and I used completely different wild color schemes. And so I painted very unnatural colors, but all the values are right. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Interesting.
And so it's interesting how it came out.
What's the Asian one?
This is not done in natural colors. I did it all in unnatural colors, but the reason why it works is because the values are right? So I can tell you values are a whole lot more important. So you can see again, 100% black all the way down to 10%. So this is a good, so in this particular one, you can lay it over the top of a painting and you can check what is the value scale. So you can see this is probably a value of 9, right? And like I've told, what I see out of most watercolor artists, when they get to the intermediate phase, are stuck in the mid-tone values. They lose their lights, and they're too afraid to go dark, right? So here's the problem, and this is the challenge. This is why everybody's afraid of water and color. The darker you go, you can't go back, right? So it's a one-way trip. So, and the other thing important to understand about watercolor is it's accumulative. When you paint layers over the top of each other, the layers below it show through, and it gets darker and darker and darker and darker. So every time you add a new layer, you're bumping up the value. You might think you are painting really dark. You might think, oh, this went on, it's going to dry at an 8. And then as it dries, color shift, and you're down to a 6. Or you're down to a 5. And then what's your option? You got to wait for it to completely dry, and then you're going to do something called a wash over the top of it, or a glaze. Glazing is the term. Go right over the top of what you already painted, and now you're going to add more pigment on top of that, and now it's getting darker and darker. There's a lot of artists who like to do a lot of layers because they're going to sneak up on that value really slowly and make sure they nail it. They don't get too dark, don't get too light. It's okay. There's no problem with that. If you want to do 15 layers, you want to do 45 layers, you can do 45 layers. Every time you touch your painting, you're running the risk of causing damage. You're running the risk of making it worse. So the goal for most watercolor artists is to hit the value first time out the gate, first try.